What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Trig 10s. Austin and I are getting ready to work on this Weldbilt 1552. It's a pretty cool little boat. I'm gonna turn the camera around and show you guys this, but check it out. The boat is sitting on the cart. This thing is so nice, though. It makes it super helpful. I'm gonna flip the camera around. Let's check this thing out. All right. This motor, we gotta take off here and build a bracket for it because it's kind of shaky. And it's only got bolts pretty much in one side besides that one right there. The boat itself, though, is 2022. It's kind of weird setup. This is going to have to go. We're going to have to cut that out, replace that, because this thing's getting a full build. And basically, we're going to bring this deck back to where the live well's at. Well, he wants to keep that live well in there, so that's what we're going to do. And then back here, this one's a little bit different. We haven't done a Weldbilt like this in a while, and well, we've got two of them, same exact styles. Another one just like this came in the shop last week, so we're gonna have to do a little bit different than we normally would with having like a bench and having two hatches, and then the center would be his base. He does want a seat base in here, but the way this is set up, we're obviously gonna have to run two long hatches, port and starboard, and then we're gonna come back and have probably two hatches here, and the center is going to have to be solid. That way we can put a seat base in there. It's going to be a little different, but he is a traditional tournament bass fisherman, so we're going to go with that same type of layout as that. The only thing I'm not really thrilled about is the live well and these side panels that are in this boat. The floor that's in here is not terrible, but it's kind of already showing some wear for only being 3 years old. It dips down in a couple of spots. We're actually going to probably end up reusing at least the floor that's inside of where our compartments are going to be, but we might end up replacing some of this other stuff. But the first thing we got to do, we got to make these side panels lower. Now, obviously, they come all the way up to the top of the gunnel, and that's just an eyesore. It's not going to look good. So we are going to try to remove these whole panels. Then we got to get to the ribs, and we got to cut the ribs down. Now, I'm thinking that instead of just cutting across here and taking this top off, I think it would honestly be easier to actually take this whole panel off. I don't know, Austin and I were looking at it earlier, and it looks like if we remove the floor, then we can get to the bottom, and we're going to see how hard it's going to be, because you can see it's just got, like 2-inch welds on the top and maybe a couple on the bottom. I don't know what the hell this thing is. Holy crap. That's an ugly weld, but it is what it is. I'm gonna put you guys up on the hyperlapse, and we're gonna start ripping this floor out of here, trying to get these side panels off, and then we'll circle back. All right, so we disassembled this thing surgically. All of these pieces are side pieces, live well lid, and our floor. Look at how shiny the bottom of that floor is. Things like a mirror. We might actually reuse some of those floor pieces. I'm not sure, but we did find a lot of foam in here. Fortunately, this is foam that's easy to remove because you can just pick it up and take it out of here. Not that spray foam stuff. Kind of crazy how they just packed all these little tiny pieces up in here. It actually had foam up in the side walls too, which that's actually one of the first times I've seen Weldbilt do that, but it took us probably about an hour to get to the stage of where we're at right now. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with that live well, because he wants to reuse that live well, but if you look at it, the way it sits now, it's low from what our deck is going to be, and I'm not exactly sure how to put one of our lids on there and make it work, but we'll figure that out. Now that we're at this stage of the game, one cool thing about them putting those side panels on here is that none of these ribs in here got painted, so it should be easy to weld. We got to come back and clamp these, and we're going to weld up to here, and then we're going to cut this top off and remove that. That will give us the ability to run this deck, you know, streamline across here. And I don't know exactly how we're going to finish off these side panels. Now, I'd like to use these same pieces, maybe. It would be ideal if we could, because our deck is going to stop here, and then we would have one piece exposed here and then a little one there, but I'm not exactly sure. We got to figure this out. I'm going to put you guys back on the hyperlapse. Austin's going to get welding, and then we'll circle back. Let's get back to work. All right, guys, so Austin and I crushed this thing. Day one in the books, we probably put about 7 hours into it, but we got pretty much all the framework is done. I mean, this is the front deck. We got one big storage compartment for his batteries, and then this is going to be a big tackle storage, electrical panel. Now, I do got to figure out how to frame that out so that I can use one of my hatches on it, but I didn't want to attach that into this quite yet because I think I'm just going to have to build that onto there and come back and attach it once I get it to that stage. But that's gonna be a little tricky, but we're gonna make that happen. But this is simple. This is pretty much done. I can take this out and weld it from both sides, permanently install that. And then from here back, I got a little bit to come back across here to blank this side off. Same thing over there. Nothing crazy though. And then in the back deck, well, we cut these holes in here, got a floor in here, turned out good. Both sides are done like that. And then this H section right here, well, that's very simple. We frame this off, so he's got a big hatch here, and we have another big hatch here. It's gonna come back and rest on these pieces and have like a cutout. It's gonna go right around there. It's a transom hatch. It's gonna be really cool. And in the center, the seat base fits in there. It's pretty simple. I mean, the way this thing's laid out, it worked out really well. Having these side benches, and I mean, you really don't have to do a whole lot of framing. They do that for you. I bring this all the way back. And then what we did was we cut 3 inches here. So we're gonna have 1.5 inches from this hatch lip, and we'll have 1.5 inches from this hatch lip, and they'll meet up perfectly in here. It's really gonna be a cool little back deck. I wasn't thrilled about it at first, having these 2 side benches like this, but it was actually a lot less work. So kind of digging it now. I'm thinking with this, we've got 1.5 inch gap here. I'm thinking I'm gonna come up and out with an angle and just make like a picture frame that drops over this whole thing. And then I'll just weld it to the piece here. And when I make my hatch, it'll sit down inside of here. So that's what I'm hoping. I might have to do something to it because I really want to make sure this thing's watertight, but this isn't quite tall enough to be exactly what I want. But either way, we're gonna figure this out. I'll make this happen, but it looks pretty cool so far, man. I'm pumped. We got to figure out these floor in here and put the floor back up inside of here. Well, looks good though. I don't know when Austin's going to come back, but I might do a little bit more work on this. I need to get back onto that one over there. Honestly, what I think I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and start working on this and get a little bit more done tonight. I'm going to take this deck out of here. I'm going to weld this from both sides. I'm going to put the floor in here. And look at this foam that's in here. Now, I love these Pro-Weldbilts because they use a foam like this, a sheet foam, and you don't have to worry about the spray foam. It's really easy to take that out if you want to. I'm probably going to replace majority of this foam with something else because these little pieces are kind of silly, and it would just be nice to put some whole solid sheets in here. But I'm going to get this deck frame finished out, weld it up, and then from there, I might tinker around with this, but really the only framing we'll have left to do is going to be a little catwalk on that side and a little catwalk on this side right here, and then around this hatch right here, because the whole back deck, everything's done. So I'm gonna put you guys back in the hyperlapse. I'm gonna get some of this stuff going, and then we'll circle back. Let's get back to work. All right, guys, so 10 hours in and all of the framework is done. Everything's figured out. It's turned out sick. We got hatch, 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 and hatch. 4 hatches going into the back bench, seat base going in the center right there. Now, all the internals and everything is ready to rock and roll with this back deck. Got this floor installed. We ended up reusing the same floor. We just flipped it. We stiffened it on these sides by throwing an 1.5 inch angle in here that runs down and back out. And then we brought up our side panels. Now, the way I'm going to do these, I'm going to throw a cup holder in here for him. Might put his graph here. He was talking about putting it over there, but I think that's pretty dumb. I'd rather just put it right here. I'm going to ask him about it again, see what he says. That's what most people do. But anyways, so we did frame out over here for that other little sidewall. It's going to go up there, and that's basically just like a catwalk. We'll lay his rods up there. Same thing on this side. Front deck, all solid, installed. Got a couple verticals in here. One thing I gotta do is put my sheeting in here now, and I'm gonna cut those and bring those home tomorrow. I do have to come back and put one piece of angle across this floor rib and run like 2 braces up the bottom of this 1x3. I'm also gonna run a divider all the way across here and box that off because that's gonna be the electrical panel hatch. But front deck's pretty much figured out. Got a seat base going in here. Cut the hole out for his recessed foot pedal tray. Look, we put a kickstand in here. It's a 1.5 by 1.5 by 1/8 inch thick aluminum angle. We just ran it right up underneath the bottom of these braces that we cut through. We actually hit 3. We got 1, 2, and it runs in the back and hits the 3rd one back there. And then what we did was just weld it right across here. Shot a rivet through the angle into our 1x1 square tube. And then we welded the tube down at the bottom into the angle. Same thing. Both sides. It looks good. Makes this deck strong. This deck actually had like a big bubbled up rolled area in it, and it worked out well with us cutting through these 2 ribs because those ribs were jacked up. And it was just where they welded it and put it together, but now it's nice and straight. We smacked it down with a hammer and got it perfectly where it needed to be, attached these kickstands in it, and now she's good to go. It's actually a whole lot nicer than it was when it came to us. But there was no way that I was going to be able to reuse these side panels in here. I tried to cut one down, and what was going on with them is that the angle wasn't flat on the top. It was kicked way down, so it would have looked stupid with the turf. So those are over there. They're going to the scrap pile tomorrow. This was the most pain in the butt out of everything. I don't understand why you want to spend all this money to get me to build this whole boat and then use this stupid live well. It's just retarded, man. I mean, this live well, it's not exactly the size that I would want to build it. Not only that, this thing is like 3/4 of an inch out of square, and it's shorter than the entire deck that we built in here. So what I had to do was basically frame it out and bring it up like a picture frame around it, and it worked. I mean, the issue is I had to keep this flush on the outside, or else you would just be able to tell, obviously, that if the turf comes up and then it lumps out a 1/2 inch where this is actually square. But I couldn't do anything with it. Look at this corner right here, though. I mean, that's nowhere near 90. This thing is super tight. It's pinched in over here. We have like a 1/2 inch difference across here and across here. It is what it is. I mean, what I'm going to do is make this hatch small, and instead of it coming all the way flush out to the outside edge, well, it's probably going to come 1 inch, and that'll give me room of play to shift it around. I'll get the hatch to where it's square, you know, going bow to stern, and then I'll just have to wrap the rest with turf to make it work. But yeah, that's kind of dumb. We should have just put a new live well in there. He could have used that for storage if he really wanted to keep it. And then I wouldn't have to worry about keeping the lid right. I could have cut it off or something and just squared it back. But being waterproof, anyways, enough about that thing. It's done and it's going to look all right. But everything else is finished up, man. I mean, it looks sick. Only thing I really have to build is the bracket for his Minn Kota Ultrex that's going up here. And I'm going to do that probably tomorrow, bring that home with me. This is going to be a piece of 1/8 inch aluminum. I'm probably going to weld up some of these holes. And looks like he's got a little crack. Yeah, there's a little crack up here. And that one is cracked. I'm going to weld that up. I'll sheet over this and bring it back down, rivet it through here. I'm going to put a little piece over that to cover that up and that hole. But I'm going to wait and I'm going to cover that up right before I put this toy motor bracket up here. And then I'm going to get this thing outside. we'll sand it up and paint the whole boat. It's gonna look sick. I am painting this boat myself, so I'm gonna make it look good. Now I got the turf that I'm gonna order tomorrow. We're going with brown camo, just like the one we did in the jet boat. So I'm excited about that too. All in all though, for 10 hours, if Austin and I can do this in 10 hours, oh, we can turn these boats quick. I'm excited to see what the rest of this summer holds, man. I mean, it's going to be epic. All right, guys, so it's a good point right here for me to wrap up. This is going to be a serious build. We are going to be doing all electrical, plumbing, turf, paint, etc. So I'm going to wrap up part one right now. This is a 1552 2022 Weldbilt, and we built everything in this boat the way you see it in 10 hours. Now, that is insane. It would take me 3 or 4 days to do this by myself. With Austin's help, we can put this out in one good workday. That's crazy. This is a lot of work, guys. Like, a lot of you guys building boats know how much time it actually takes to do all this stuff. We've got it down to a science. I'm pumped because it's going to be really cool to see how far we can go with it. Now, Austin and I have overextended ourselves, and I was banking on this. I was banking on him coming back. I have took on tons of boat builds. I mean, it's insane. It's going to be really cool because I don't know how far we can push it, but we're going to find out. And just an FYI, anybody who's watching the video in the beginning and you see the gold Trick 10's introduction, well, that means that it is a series build. So there's going to be multiple episodes in that series. Just so you know, you can go check it out, see what episode you're getting ready to watch. And if you haven't seen the first ones, well, you might want to watch them in order. Be a lot cooler that way. I do appreciate you guys watching and hanging out with me today. Hit that like, subscribe button. If you guys want to reach out to me, send me an email at professionalwelding@gmail.com. If you want to check out any of my aluminum products, that's all on Trick10's, Jonboats.com. If you want any merchandise, go check that out on Trick10s.net. I'll see you guys next time. Let's get back to work.